Hi everyone, it's Gretchen. Don't worry, your screen isn't frozen. I'm just popping in real quick before the video starts just to apologize for being so late with getting this video out. I actually filmed this video early in January and the month just kind of got away from me and I didn't have a chance to get it edited. I thought about not even putting it out there, but some of my viewers had requested to see it, so here it is. And even though we're in February, I still recommend doing this challenge. You can even go back and fulfill the prompt for January if you want to, but here it is. And once again, I'm so sorry it was so late. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Gretchen, and today I am here to share with you my TBR for this year's Read Good Challenge that Ben hosts over at his channel, Ben Reads Good. So this is a challenge that he hosts on Storygraph, and this is the second year that he's doing it. I participated in 2024 and I had such a good time with it. His prompts are so clever and unique, and it is so much fun going through my books trying to figure out which ones I want to read to cover each of those prompts. And unlike last year, one of the caveats that I've put on myself is I wanted to make sure that I picked books all that were on my active TBR and that I physically have. So this is another way for me to kind of hopefully reduce the amount of books that I have on my physical TBR. The other stipulation I put on myself is I also wanted to look at some of the books that I missed out on last year. So I had previously posted a video about the 24 books that I missed out on reading last year, and I wanted to look at those books to see if any of those would fit my prompts to make sure that I helped incorporate them into my 2025 reading. So without further ado, here is my TBR for all of the challenges. So it's a monthly challenge. So we have, starting in January, this is a repeat category that he had, and it's actually one of my favorite categories that he does, and it's annuary. So basically, read a book by an author called Anne or a book with Anne in the title. So what I am going to be reading for this prompt is The Gathering by Anne Enright. Moving on to February. So February is Flamuary, and I am to read a book with fire on the cover. And this was actually perfect because this was one of the books that I had on my 2024 list of ones I missed out on, and that is Fire Exit by Morgan Talty. Now this book is also going to be a great fit for me because I am trying to read through the long list of the Aspen Words Prize, which I talked about on that 2024 video as well, and this is longlisted for that prize. So it's kind of a win-win. This was actually the perfect prompt for me because I'm able to tick off so many boxes by reading this one in February. Moving on to March, where we have the prompt, The Ides of March, and we are to read a book with 15 characters in the title. Spaces and punctuation don't count, only letters. So I have selected The Fertile Earth by Ritvika Rao, and this is perfect because I was able to pull this as well from that list of 24 books that I missed out on in 2024. Moving on to April, we have Read a Book nominated for the Women's Prize. It is basically any book that has been nominated for the Women's Prize. It could be for fiction, it could be for nonfiction. I'm sticking with fiction, and I am going to read Freshwater by Akwege Emeze. On to May. So May is a really fun prompt. It's Déjà Vu. So basically we are to reread a book or read an author you've previously read. Now I am going down the route of rereading a book, and there's two that I have potentially put on that list. These are the two I think I'm going to choose from. I'm actually hoping to get to rereads of both of these. Whether I get to both of them in May. I'm not sure, but I'll at least be doing one of them, if not both. The first is Study for Obedience. This was a book that I absolutely loved. It was a book that was on my 2023 list of the best books for that year, and it's a book that I still think about to this day, and I feel like enough time has passed, and I think that we're due for a reread on this one. And the next book that I'm going to reread is a book that I have been meaning to get to again for a very long time. And the first time I read this book, I hated it. I absolutely hated this book. I felt that something is wrong with me because this is a book that is loved by so many people. There are so many people out there that say that this is their favorite book, but I just did not get along with it. And I feel like now that I am a little older, I have more life experience, maybe now it's time to pick this book up and give it another chance. And that is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. So we'll see what happens. I cannot guarantee that I'm gonna like it after a reread, but I am definitely willing to give it a chance because who knows, you know, tastes change over the years, and we'll see what happens. On to June. This was actually one of my favorite prompts from Ben's challenge last year. I will also mention he recycled some of his prompts from last year, but he also had a mix of new ones as well. So this was one that he did last year, and I absolutely loved it. It's Reading Shame Forgiveness Month, and basically it's read a book that you feel ashamed not to have read, whether it's the book that's been on your shelf the longest or one that you've told everyone you read, but you actually haven't. No judgment here. And that is going to be for me this year, To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf. I don't know why I haven't got to this. I absolutely love Woolf's writing. Every book of hers that I have ever picked up, I have loved. So I think that it's time that I finally check this off of my TBR. Next, we're moving on to July, and that is to read a work in translation, and that is going to be My Work by Olga Ravn, and this is a book translated from the Danish by Sophia Hersey-Smith and Jennifer Russell. I'm really looking forward to this one. I read Olga Ravn's The Employees this past year, loved it, so I wanted to make sure I got to this one sooner than later. Moving on to August, where we are to read a book by a Booker Prize winning author. And the nice part about this prompt is it doesn't have to be the book that won the prize. It just has to be a part of that author's backlist. So I am going to be doing Greek Lessons by Han Kang, and this is translated from the Korean by Deborah Smith and Emily Ye Won. And it's nice because this was also a book that I wanted to get to last year that I didn't, and this is the perfect prompt to make sure that I get it done in 2025. Moving on to September, we have Sapphire September. As you may know, sapphires are the birthstone for the month of September. They are traditionally blue in color, so the prompt is to read a book that has a blue cover. And anytime I think of a blue cover, my mind immediately goes to Fitzcarraldo. So I went and raided my bookshelves in my Fitzcarraldo section, and I landed on Emergency by Daisy Hilliard. Now, I will say this is subject to change because I do have several Fitzcarraldo books that I have on my TBR. So depending on my mood around September, I may change this, but regardless, I'm going to be doing a Fitzcarraldo book for the month of September. Another returning prompt for Ben is in the month of October, and this is Ugtober, and it's such a fun prompt, and it's a very subjective prompt because it's to read a book with an ugly cover. So I love looking actually in Storygraph to see the list of what everybody is choosing because it is such a preference on what you consider to be ugly. Or visually appealing, and some of the books that are listed there I think have really beautiful covers, so I do like looking at what everybody else is picking to see if I agree with them. But my pick for this prompt is going to be Don't Be a Stranger by Susan Minot. And this is another book that I wanted to get to last year that didn't. And I don't feel like there's anything really offensive about the cover. I mean, I kind of like the color. It's red and then it's got like this border of hot pink. It's maybe hard to see on the camera, but it's just, I don't know, it's just so boring and it doesn't tell me anything about the book. And if you couldn't tell that this is an outline of a light switch, like from a distance, if you didn't see that, it basically just looks like there's just lettering on the book cover. And yeah, so I think that this is not the most attractive book cover in my opinion, but some of you might disagree and that's okay, but this is the one that I plan on reading. So moving on to November, this is actually a new prompt for this year and it's called No Comfort November. And basically we're just supposed to read something outside of our comfort zone. And something that is definitely outside of my comfort zone is poetry. It's not that I don't like poetry or I don't appreciate it. I just don't seek it out as often as I should. And I feel like this is a perfect way for me to explore some poetry in 2025. So last year, I was very graciously provided with a few poetry collections from Knopf, so I will be reading one of these collections for this prompt in November. So we have a poetry collection by Michael Ondaatje. He wrote, if you're not familiar, The English Patient, which I read last year and enjoyed. So this poetry collection is called A Year of Last Things. There's also a collection called Machete by Thomas Q. Moran, and this cover is absolutely stunning. If the poetry is as beautiful as the cover, I'm in for a treat. And then last but not least, there is a collection called Stones by Kevin Young, and this is another really cool and very fun cover. And last but not least, we are in December. This is another new category for 2025, and we have Decembros, which is read a book about brothers or brotherhood. And I decided that I'm going to read The Sisters Brothers by Patrick DeWitt. This is a book that I have been meaning to get to for a very long time. I can't remember the year, but it was shortlisted for the Booker Prize. So this was perfect, and I'm really looking forward to getting to this one. So that's my TBR for the challenge. I'm looking really forward to getting to it this year and participating again. Like I said, it's so much fun having those prompt-based reading challenges for each month. And Ben also mentioned in his video when he announced the categories that he is hoping to maybe do a little more content on his channel this year in relation to the reading challenge. So we have that to look forward to. The reading challenge is exclusively through Storygraph, so you would need a Storygraph account to be able to follow, but I will put the link to that video that Ben did below, and I highly encourage you to join us. We'll have a lot of fun, and until we read again, bye!